All right. Well, folks, you know you're in for a treat when you hear that tune because it's time for another week of the RecPoker podcast. This is episode 557, if you can believe it, the Chats edition. And we're going to be talking to the one and only Joey Ingram in just a moment. But first, I have to let you know a few things about the show. First of all, I'm your host, Jim Reid, Bluffsterini in the home game and at RecPoker Jim on Twitter. And I have the best freaking job in the world, talking poker with my friends here on the RecPoker podcast every Monday night at 7:30 Eastern. Live on YouTube. You can join us for free every week and win a prize just for showing up. I have to thank our sponsors, the Running Aces Hotel, Racetrack, and Casino. We couldn't do what we do without their support. And we had a fantastic trip out there just the other week. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. But like I say, most of what we do here is free at RecPoker. We're a largely volunteer-based organization. So we depend on support from our sponsors and our premium members. You can get a free account here at RecPoker for nothing. All it takes is an email address and a smile, although we do insist on both. But if you want to unlock the premium membership, it's only $15 a month. But if you use the code RecPoker at checkout, you get your first month for only $5. And we have a special prize, a giveaway today for Joey Ingram fans. If you stick around till the end of the episode, we're going to let us folks know how they can get a free month at RecPoker for joining in the show tonight. Now, they let me host the show on Mondays, but I am only one man. It takes a group, a crew, a village, a gang to run all the magic here at RecPoker. We call this group of wizards the RECing Crew. And if you want to find out more about me and the rest of the RECing Crew, you can go to rec.poker/crew, or you can just listen up because you can meet a few of them here on the air, starting with producing co-host Chris Jones.
I'm Chris Jones. You can find me 5B5 on Twitter or 5x5 in the PokerStars home game.
And I'm Joe Coolis. You can find me at JoeCoolPhD on Twitter and Elvita11 in the home game.
And I am John Somsky, also known as Poker Geek MN everywhere.
Hey guys, I'm Joseph Wills. I am hockey_poker in the X Twitter and hockey_poker 702 in the home game.
Hey folks, I am Sasha Sutton. You can find me on Twitter at Poker for Girls.
All right, so you heard it here. It takes a group like we talked about. The RECing Crew is alive and strong, and we are welcome to be, we're happy to be welcoming Papi himself, Joey Ingram, here on the RecPoker podcast. Joey, great to have you here on the show. Finally, it only took 557 episodes. We're so excited.
557, yeah. Joe Ingram 1 on Twitter, and I don't have a home game screen name. Otherwise, I read my home game too. But yeah, it's good to be here, guys. You guys got a hell of a crew here. I've heard a lot of good things over the years about your community. So yeah, I'm happy to be here, and curious what you guys have in store for me. I'm on the other side of the conversation here. So yeah, I'm excited to be here, man. I'm excited to talk poker.
Well, I love to hear it, and you are excited to talk poker. That's kind of what you're known for. Let's actually start off with that. First of all, get comfortable, relax. You know, pour yourself a drink. You get to just hang out.
Pour
and
myself a drink. Yeah, I kind of was thinking about taking some wine, but you know, I'll see where things go.
All right, as long as you're relaxed, because you're off the clock a little bit here. I know
I've been working all day. I'm definitely not off the clock. I'm grinding 24 hours a day right now, so I am. I'm always working. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm relaxed. Interested to hear what you guys got.
When we met in person, I was trying to find out just like, so what do you do for fun? You're like, no, always working, just grinding all the time. There's no downtime.
Well, I try to find ways that I get paid to have fun. So yes. I go to events, like I go to a lot of charities. We talked about that earlier, charity series of poker events in Vegas. I love those because I get to go there, I get to have a good time. It's great to support the charities of local charities in Vegas, meet a lot of people. Like I like things like that where I get to go there and, you know, have fun, get paid a drink and have a good time and talk poker.
Yeah, well, that does sound pretty good. I'll remind our YouTube viewers, if you're watching this live, if you have any questions for Joey, type them into the YouTube chat. And we're also going to be playing Stake Study Stack a little later in the show. So please type in some famous poker players' names so that we can bounce them off Joey for that segment later in the show. We typically give away a prize at the end of the show to support a local food bank as part of our fight against food insecurity. So stick around to the end of the show and you can win a prize like we do every week. So speaking of like we do every week, Joey, I don't like to put our guests in a box, but you in particular have this really interesting role now in the poker world. And I know like when you started playing poker, you just loved the game, you had some success at it. and you have now, again, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Maybe you could describe to our audience kind of how
How would you describe it, Jim? How would you describe it?
Why
don't you let me hear you make a description, then I'll see if I think it's accurate or not.
Well, you've kind of become this like passionate investigative reporter that like takes on rumors and scandals and debunks them and like gets to the bottom of them. And I think this is just like a little piece of what you do, but I think your reputation has become sort of like this arbiter of truth within the poker world rumor mill, which is such an interesting spot. Is that close to how you think of yourself?
I would say that, yeah, I would say that's an interesting way to think about it. I didn't really know people thought about me that way for a while, because I always thought of myself as like a big PLO player, and I had a great podcast where, you know, I did hundreds of episodes of my podcast with some of the best players. So a lot of people really like the podcast. They like to hear from the crushers. They like some of my other edits. And, you know, over the years, I've heard more of, I'm known as an investigator, or I'm known as someone who likes to dive deep into things, which I always have loved to do that, because when I was coming up the online poker world, I remember something happened with Poker Stars when Dan Negreanu was their ambassador, and I thought he was the voice of the people in the community. And I found out quickly that it's not how that works at all. So I've always said that if I got in that position, then, you know, I would try to handle things differently. I would try to look at things differently. I would try to stick up for players. I would try to support players when they had problems against the poker sites, or if people had problems in general. And I definitely understand now why Daniel does not want to deal with any of that shit. And it makes a lot more sense why he was collecting his salary and his equity and, you know, saying more rake is better when he's living the best life. You know, it makes a lot more sense now that I've learned a lot more about what I've learned. So I would say that in the past, I have tried to do that with cases. I've definitely helped out a lot of people behind the scenes, helped out a lot of people on content. And yeah, I would say like during the last investigation I did about the Jack 4 incident, I remember I had a lot of people watching, like 6K people watching me at 6 a.m. And I said, you know, I gotta do something else with my life. I gotta shine this light somewhere else. I gotta figure out another way to use my investigative and research ability to do something else with my life. So ever since then, for about the past maybe year and a couple months, I've been very focused on a new path. And I would say that my poker investigative journalism days, while they might still be a part of my content, and they're always something I can do. You know, I see probably 10 viral investigations right now no one's talking about in poker. Like, it's crazy the kind of scams that are going on. But I think eventually you got to decide what you have time for and what you're going to focus on. So I dedicate a lot of my life to worrying about poker, whatever you want to call it, right? These issues or this investigations. And I'm kind of shifting that elsewhere now.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, we talk about opportunity cost on this show quite a bit. And, you know, especially for someone who, you know, is as productive as you are, you kind of have to value your time to get the most out of it, I think. Talk a little bit about sort of what you've been working on, what you've been transitioning to, and why you find it's more valuable.
More valuable. I don't know if I've never really been one to really be obsessed with money or be obsessed with like getting the most out of my time, or, you know, because it's real easy. A lot of people in Vegas are like that. A lot of people in business are like that, where they only want to talk to you or they only want to do business with you if they know they can get something from you. And, you know, they treat you a certain way. A lot of people treat me way differently now than they used to treat me, because once you get a big channel and once you get influence and once you get opportunity, then people are going to want to, you know, it affects everybody differently, and it definitely impacts me differently. So I'd say right now I'm kind of just setting up a very versatile strategy where I can be a player, because right now we've seen the rise of the live stream game, and you know, I'm talking behind the scenes. I'm looking at deals all day long. I'm looking at investing in companies or working with companies or partnering with companies or providing my resources somehow with a lot of companies. So I've been meeting with people for about the last 8 months straight, all these different companies in different sectors. And one big thing that's starting to happen is the online poker streams are starting to become more and more popular. There's more and more of them coming, and we're about to see a poker boom, basically, is what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for this moment for the last 10 years. So right now we're about to see a poker boom. We got a lot of these high stakes games, and they're bringing in a lot of people that don't know how to play poker, that are happy to donate $20,000. They're happy to come on and lose 80. They're happy to play poker in a play terrible, really. I mean, they play to lose. And
Right.
this was just, I don't remember this being a thing on these streams years ago. I just don't remember this being what it is. And now there's so many happening. I've already heard of so many more going on. So for me, I've been dedicating my past couple of years to really studying the game of poker. I'm deep in the lab. I'm studying 2-card PLO every day. I'm always locked in on 4-card. I got the best coaches in the world right now. My new partnerships are about to start, which those will be rolling out here pretty soon. And I'm basically going to start challenging anybody to play me heads up at 2-card PLO that makes content. No Eastern European nerd in the basement. I got respect for those guys. Those are my guys. No bots, no RTA. I got to see multi-cameras on you. But I'm looking to have more fun with my content. I'm not really looking I'm positioning myself to do whatever I want to do. So if I want to play a high stakes game that's Hold'em, I can do that. If I want to play a high stakes game that's PLO, I can do that. If I want to put on my own game, I can do that. If I want to do commentary on either game, I'm at a higher level when I do that. If I want to coach, I'm able to do that. If I want to create products and services off of the poker strategy, then I'm able to do that. So it just makes you very versatile as a player, because I'm getting all these offers to play in these games. RECing Crew, listen, I don't know, man. Like, I never seen anything like this, guys. I'm gonna be honest. Like, this is crazy. These people don't know how to play, and they play with a lot of money regularly. So what would you do in that situation?
I mean, I'd be in those games. I'd be in those games,
like,
man. Yeah.
I'm watching these plays, Jim, and I'm saying, like, I watched Santos play PLO on this show, and I was like, oh my God. I mean, shout out to my guy Santos. We got love for him. I don't know if you guys know him or not here, but that guy, these guys play, they're not playing to win anymore. Like, some people are, you got the Wizards that are trying to play to win, but it seems like a lot of these guys aren't playing to win. So that's been one area of my focus lately.
Yeah. And I got so many questions coming out of that, but I mean, one that jumps to the top is like, why do you think that is? Is there this kind of, you've talked about this coming poker boom, and I do feel it as well. Do you feel like there's people that just want to make an impression on this market to get some name recognition, so they're willing to come in and be the whale and lose, but lose like spectacularly? Or is there something more going on there?
Well, Hustlers kind of their ethos has been to create games with people that want to have fun. And I think people have seen that and said, okay, well, we want to make a fun show too. We want to have fun here. Eric Person has the VPIP limit. So everybody wants to have fun players. They don't want to have nerds. They don't want to have a solver guy, as they like to say. They want to have people that are like to have a good time. So if you come on to the show and you're having a good time and you're donating money, you get back on the show. Now, if you're a rich guy and you want to develop your business, being present on the internet is great for some people. It's terrible for other people, but it's a great way to develop investors, to develop backers, to get into other poker games, to do a whole world of business inside that ecosystem that I think a lot of these people love taking advantage of. And that's a big thing that happens, a big meta that goes down at these high stakes games, is that everybody has an ulterior motive in these games. A guy might be losing 60K on the stream, but he's got a business where they're making $25 million. So he can go lose 60K here. He picks up some customers on the show. He gets in some potential customers that maybe saw him on the show. He engages with his community he already has. So, and then also there's the fame. Maybe you meet some women, maybe, opportunities start to open up when you're on TV, when you're getting out there, when you're getting seen. So I think it's like a combination of factors. And then a lot more people are just getting into poker, it seems like these days, and they have a platform to play. They're coming in from the Hustler shows. They're coming in from the Lodge live streams, and they never studied. Like, they don't know, they want to be better, but they don't know what that even means. And, even if you do study, you often end up in a lot of spots with weak hands post flop where you don't know what to do anyway. So you can sometimes click a button and get it right, but oftentimes you're going to be in so many spots where, so if you're an experienced player, this is where the edges are. This is where the arbitrage is. At PLO, people don't know how to play at all. Like, they haven't even studied anything. But at Hold'em, they're a little bit better. So you got to get deeper in the lab, and yeah, you got to figure out where you're winning at, where your edges are.
Yeah, I like the 2-card Omaha. That is where most of our listeners are versed here. Joe, you had a comment, I think, earlier. You unmuted.
Yeah, so I've been interested in talking to you in terms of my view of the poker sphere, because there's a lot of fantasy that goes on, a lot of reality, and you kind of sell yourself as somewhere between a provocateur and a muckraker who plays poker and then also does other things, like your followers are called Legion, which
Not the
sounds
Legion.
like a group that's supposed to be helpful, but it was actually Legion were the devils that were inside of one person that were then cast out. So you're kind of a lot of contradictions in terms of what you present online, and given the fantasy that you just talked about in terms of what these live streams are trying to present to people, how do you maneuver that space, particularly if you're seeing yourself as an investigative reporter?
I wouldn't say I see myself as that anymore. You know, I would say I kind of saw myself like that a little bit, and then I tried to be more neutral with people. But now I'm embracing more the investor life and consulting life. I'm basically building out my services where, you know, I've enjoyed being the face of everything I've done for a long time, but I'm kind of ready to, you know, have my channels be a part of my life, but I want them to be a little part of my life. I don't want them to be a big part of my life. I don't want to be an investigative. Like if I get a job with the FBI, or if I get a job in law enforcement or in government agency, then maybe I'll start worrying about it. But like, you can't be effective. You're not an effective investigative reporter in the poker world when I can't figure out what the fuck's really going on here. So, you know, I can't, like, I've been lied enough to on the phone by the people I've been talking to, right? And I got no way to verify it. I got nothing I can do. All I can do is nothing. So you look at ACR, I covered the ACR stuff 7 years ago. It's still going on. Same as it is now. Once I stopped talking about it, they stopped issuing refunds. You know what I mean? Like, nothing is really changing here, guys. The poker world is not what it seems. You got a bunch of different sections of it. And for me to really be an investigative reporter, I need more resources. I need more tools. I need partners. I'm not doing this by myself. Kamikaze, I'm getting old. You know, if I'm going to be kamikaze style, I'm going to put my effort somewhere else. I'm going to put it on things I want to be around, things I want to be doing, helping people out that I want to be helping out. And, you know, my days of like not being able to really do anything with these stories are over for now, but they're always there ready to be activated anytime I want. So I would say, like, now I'm not really like, I'm very open now. I'm doing a lot more. I'm open. I'm meeting with all founders. I'm trying to meet as many founders as I can. I'm trying to talk to as many companies as I can, see what their goals are, see what they're working on, trying to find partners, trying to find companies I can invest in, versus before when I was like, I don't want to really talk to a lot of people. And now I know who the people are who I would say are operating in certain areas, and I just stay away from them. So that's kind of been my philosophy right now but yeah, it's open to change. It's evolving. It evolves every day.
I've got some follow-up questions on that, but first I think Sasha Sutton, you had something.
Hi, Sasha.
Hi, Joey. How are you? It's lovely to
Good.
see you, and thank you so much for coming on. I'm very, very grateful for your analysis of what I call, these are my words, spectacle poker, in the hustler vein. Obviously not so much in the Poker Go world and not so much on Triton. The old high stakes poker and the old poker after dark, very different aesthetic. And I know this is a very different moment. I love what you're saying about the donators and people coming on, not necessarily trying to win. You're talking about the high stakes context. I grind in Vegas and I see some of the most terrible poker on earth every day. Guys sitting at 2-5 tables with lots of money on the table and don't know what GTO is. I don't care that they don't know, but this idea that poker is dead or poker is so hard now, I so disagree with every cell of my being. When people say that to you, even at lower stakes, even at lower cash stakes, 2-5, 5-10, what do you say? Do you just laugh and then?
No. Yeah, I mean, I've been hearing this for a while, and you know, it's all about, you have to understand what that even means and how to make money at poker, because there's a big difference between being good at poker and making money at poker. So if your goals are to make money at poker and grind up your points or grind up your bankroll, the strategy is going to be different than if your goal is to be good at poker, or if your goal is to make winning poker plays or be whatever GTO or anything like that. So nobody says that to you unless, you know what I mean? Like a regular, most people don't say that to you, right? Because they're making money. Like, they know the games aren't dead. There's always a lot of fun players out there, and poker's all about game selection and repetition. So if you can find games where there's going to be weak players and you can play on those games consistently, you can get in good seats. You got to get in good seats. It's all about seat selection and game selection for maximizing your win rate. Combine that with talent, combine that repetition, and that's how you build a winning poker career. And then some people like to battle. Some people can beat various degrees of players, but I would say anyone that says that doesn't understand poker strategy, because once you really study and you learn how many mistakes you're making, even though you think you know what you're doing, you start to realize that most people are making a lot of mistakes in a lot of different spots. And you can print EV and certain flop formations and certain turn formations, certain river formations. And there's a lot of plays in poker where you're automatically making money. So if you know those spots and you know where you can bluff and what formations and what runouts, you can make a certain bet size where you're always making money from a general mathematical perspective, then you're living a good life. You got a big advantage over a lot of people. So if you just simply understand deep stack poker, I don't stack off unless I have this range of hands, you have a huge advantage over so many people who don't even know about that. They're playing a very linear range for their stack side. They got top pair, they might put it, it's just like there's a lot of people out there like that. If you find those people, obviously you got to run well, you got to get in those spots, but it's all about repetition and consistency and game selection. So everyone is different. They don't have access to that, so they might say the games are hard. They only got one game in their casino, and it is hard. Maybe it is hard. Maybe it is, right? Maybe they're not lying. But when you take into account the online ecosystem, the live ecosystem, and once you understand how to navigate those two worlds and get comfortable in those worlds, there is so much opportunity out there right now for you to make any amount of money you want to make. But obviously there's opportunity for you to lose a lot of money too. So, you really got to know the world and know what you're doing and know how to navigate through it. But yeah, I would agree with you that this is not, no. People are getting worse. Oh my God. I mean, no, I don't think so. I mean, no, I don't think so. The ACR with 3 bots at a game, maybe, yeah, they might be getting tougher, but I don't know.
I love that answer. We talk about sort of like the unsexy skills of poker being like game selection and bankroll management. And they're not strategy based. People don't like talking about them, but they are so crucial. And like finding good games that you can beat, games that have players in it that are making the kind of mistakes that you can exploit. I mean, that's not going anywhere. So I think now, and you've got this kind of unique situation where you've built up this profile in the poker world, like we were talking about at the beginning. Now, like, you've got access to some of these fantastic games. What goes into like choosing for you when you choose to spend your time playing poker? What do you look for? Like, how do you choose where you're going to go play? What are the factors that you consider?
Yeah, I mean, good question. Right now, I don't really play except against my bots and my artificial intelligence programs. So basically, I have like 5 programs I use, where some are heads up trainers, some are 6-max trainers, some are for tournaments, some could be for whatever. And then you have your more like deeper software like GTO Wizard AI, who I just started working with, who they have it where you can really build out these exploitative strategies because you can alter the parameters. Whereas before, for like a poker solver, like Pile Solver, you took hours to run these simulations, and if you change the bet sizes or if you change the ranges, you'd have to do it all over again. But GTO Wizard just bought this company called Ruse, and Ruse was something where they made it where you could edit the inputs, you could edit the range of hands, and you could edit the bet sizes, and in real time it gives you alternative strategies. So this is like the most game-changing software I've ever seen in my entire life. And once I started using it, I was like, okay, I know the company, so I reached out to them. I said, we should do a partnership. Let's work at poker together, and let's all try to become GTO Wizards. So yeah, I would say for me right now, looking for games, I'm not really looking for games right now. I'm looking to build my own events. I get invited to all the stream games, and all the casinos invite me to host a game at the place. But if I do something, I want to be something that, I don't know. I've never really have a desire to go battle against anybody right now at poker. But in the past, if I was looking for games, I would usually just play World Series of Poker.com, or maybe try Global, or go to the Win, or go to the Aria. But I haven't really been trying to seriously like grind poker. When I go play poker, it's just usually soft games. It's always pretty easy. Like it, what I mean? It's not this thing, but I'm kind of altering my strategy now to be focused more on poker strategy. So I'm basically becoming a 2-card wizard right now. I'm in the process of doing that. And my next content is going to be that, going over that process. How did I get there? Who are my coaches? What am I learning? How am I learning it? And then I'm sort of building off this ecosystem off of that, which you guys will probably see come out over the next few months.
That's exciting stuff, man. Sounds like you got a lot of the stuff all figured out. I can't wait to be along for the ride with you. John Somsky, you unmuted there. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I was just kind of wondering how you got to where you are. When you first started your podcast, it seems like you were using it more as a recruiting tool to try to drum up people into the great game of Omaha and get them to
100%.
play it. But then kind of over time, you've actually made it so that that is more of your career mode, is your online personality. And so was that a plan, or did you kind of back into it by accident, or was it a little bit of both where you started off that way and then saw some opportunities and adjusted accordingly, or how did
Yeah,
that all come about?
good question, John. I think that yeah, you're right. I did start off as a recruiting tool for Polynomial 100%. I was like, Doyle Brunson, what did he do? He wrote Super System, right? Like, if I want people to play PLO, no one's playing PLO. They've been saying it's the next game. I was like, okay, what if I start making videos on Polynomial hands? And then I said, well, if I start getting on people that play Hold'em, then their fans are going to see that, and then they're going to want to play PLO. It turns out that kind of is true, but I missed out a lot of parts in that whole working to really get that ever to come to fruition. But I would say that once I started like doing the show and I was having fun, and I found this guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, who was a content creator, and I basically listened to him every single day about how to build community, how to build your brand, how to give value, how to build up your social media channels. And so once I started taking it more, I took it kind of casually serious, social media, but I studied it all the time. So I always have some ideas of how things work, and I always try to give a lot of value. I never really sold a lot of things. I never really tried to make a lot of money from the content I'm doing. So I would say over time, as the games online went away, PLO used to be a lot of games. Then I played an ACR. I found out there was a bunch of shenanigans happening on there. I basically just got away from online poker after that. So I would say over that time, I stopped thinking about poker. I started thinking more about content, and just really put a lot of my focus and study and effort into that. And now I've been studying it for 10 years, and I've been basically helping people build their channels, build their businesses since that time, just for free and for fun and casually. That's what I've always really enjoyed doing. So now that I'm in this position, look around and everybody needs help with this. Everyone needs help with building their Twitter. Everyone needs help building their Instagram. Everybody needs help building their podcast, building their YouTube channel. Everyone needs help building their product, building their business and marketing. So I'm kind of in this position now where I have these very powerful tools and knowledge in my head that can help people make millions of dollars for their business, for their poker site, for their investment, for their brand, or for whatever. So, I would say it kind of happened over time naturally. And then now I would say it's kind of an opposite where I'd consider myself more in tune with the strategies of a content creator or a marketer versus someone who is a poker player. But I'm bringing all the poker stuff back because it's always kind of been there. I just had to suppress it for a while. So I'm figuring out what I'm going to do next. But I would say yeah. Yeah, good question. I have to think a lot more about that. But yeah, you're right. It was a recruiting tool for PLO for sure.
Well, it goes to show you got to be careful what you spend your time on, right? Because you get good at those things, and then you end up doing more of those things. And it's
exactly.
Like start following a passion. All of a sudden, it's your life's work. It's a scary. It's a dangerous thing. You got to be careful.
John,
Chris Jones. Sorry, Joe, did you have something to finish up there?
Oh, I just saw the chat. It said John, follow up. I don't know if John.
Oh, yeah. No, that's okay. Chris, jump in there.
John seems like he's locked in. He knows about the origins of my show. Then he's an OG. So, shout out to, he must be in the Legion. So shout out to John.
He knows what's up. John knows what's up.
Joey, I wanted to follow up a little about your origins, about the great game of PLO. I think it probably maybe even paying some of your audience to hear you talk about being a 2-card wizard. But in some ways, one of the things that I see happening with our audience, with our recreational player audience, is this sort of like interest in growing beyond Hold'em too, as well. Like Hold'em is sort of like, I think, a core sort of introductory game that most players, if they come to poker, that's at least now, that's sort of the game that they understand and learn and sort of experience first, their kind of first game they sort of play. But a lot of players that I talk to, recreational players, are really interested in other games and particularly interested in maybe learning about PLO a little bit more. Taking you back to your roots, I'm wondering if you were talking to maybe a recreational player who's never really been into the game very much, never tried to play PLO much, what would be some of your initial recommendation for somebody who's just wanting to dip their toe in that water?
Yeah, there's a good video by on Upswing Poker by my man Dylan Weissman where he talks about PLO is insanely easy. That's basically the title. Obviously, it's not that easy, but the way he breaks it down in like these 3 or 4 steps make it pretty easy. So you basically just need to learn the basics of pre-flop, of what hands to play pre-flop. You want to play nut suits. You want to play high combination pairs. You want to play hands that can make the nuts by the river. So king high flushes, ace high flushes. And then you can understand position. So certain hands go down in ranking, obviously, right? Just very similar to Hold'em, where when you're on the button, theoretically, you can play more hands, but the hands you play big pots with are always the nuts. So you want to play hands, you want to be drawing to the nuts, you want to be trying to make the nuts. And that's extremely, extremely important because a lot of people get trapped in playing big pots with bottom 2 pairs, with the worst straights, with the idiot set, bottom set. And, you know, I call it the fucking idiot set, but that's the way you get into trouble once you end up in that land. So, you know, most people want to play a lot more hands naturally when they play PLO because they get 4 cards, but you know, you really got to think about how your hand works together, and suits are really matter, and all the different combinations in matter. So I would say, you know, that's really the first important part of PLO is kind of going there, and then just understanding that, like, you want to make high full houses, you want to make high flushes, you want to make high straights, you want to have those hands with redraws when you're playing big pots, you want to have double suited aces in big pots, and you want to say your prayers. And PLO is a game, a spiritual game. It's all about prayer. It's all about mindset, and you really got to take care of your mindset when you're playing PLO because it can drive you crazy. So, you know, a few different factors. But if you watch that video, Dylan Weissman, Potluck in Omaha, 30-minute video, this breaks it all down. And those are your introductors, I guess. That's like a good way to start the game. And then, yeah, from there, find a community of people that play PLO. You know, I don't really have a PLO community right now, unfortunately. So there's a lot of, I'm building products right now, and I'm building tools, and I see a lot of holes in poker right now. I see a lot of needs. I see a lot of open spaces for business, for companies, for ideas, for all different things. So Potluck definitely included.
And we really push the mixed games here at Rec Poker. We've got a monthly forums edition of the podcast just going over different mixed games every month. We play them in our free home game club here that we just play for play money chips, but we practice and we get to know the games. So when we go out and play them in real life, it's not so daunting or intimidating.
Bring me your best heads up cash game guy. I'll take them and I'll play them in that free setting, and I'll see what they got.
I think that sounds like more Rec Madness talk right there. I got to say, we've been talking about some ways to collaborate in the next little while. We do our March Madness style ladder bracket, which is play money, heads up, no limit hold'em.
It's tournaments, right?
Yeah.
I'll play tournament. I'd prefer a cash game. It's got a lot more skill in tournaments. Tournaments, you know, it's very different strategy. Tournaments, a lot of limping and very different. Like cash games, more, you know, very different strategy, is a lot deeper. But I'm going to be wanting to battle people at cash games, but I'll play the I mean, I'm definitely going to play tournaments for heads up anyway. So, you know, I'm down to support. I'm down to be a part of it. And yeah, it sounds fun.
Oh, awesome. Well, look for this coming. I think you should. Coming up in March, we'll be talking to Joey about some Rec Madness participation. We've got a lot to get excited about. Joseph, you
guys got a lot of things going on here. Oh my god,
we are an active group. We are.
I gotta do my due diligence. I study you guys' breakdown on how you guys are doing these events and stuff like that. You guys got a good thing going.
That's right. Well, we kind of invoke you on the show from time to time. Every time someone's like, well, you guys get up to a lot. It's like, okay, don't get Papi on us. You know, we're going to go deep. We're going to get deep into the investigation into how we do it all over here. But no, that sounds really exciting, man. Joseph, you had something you want to jump in with, I think.
Actually, 2 questions, or a question and a follow-up. But when you were talking about, you know, ACR, and we've seen the controversies with them and like GG Poker, are you seeing that more in the high stakes? Because obviously a lot of what we do here is more on the recreational side, so the smaller stakes. Are you seeing that with the smaller stakes as well, or is it more in, you know, kind of the nosebleed games?
For the ACR stuff, I haven't really been keeping up that close of tabs with it. I just saw that a bunch of bots came out recently at tournaments and cash games and PLO and Hold'em, and it's basically the same thing that was going on before. It was at every stake. Every stake there was multiple bots, 2 or 3 bots at a table, and that's kind of what it always seemed like to me, was that you'd have. And now they took away the country. I mean, listen, if your goal is to put money on a site and get more money off, then, you got to be careful these days. And these software developers are not your friend. These site operators are not your friend. They're not setting up the game for your best interest at heart. Your favorite ambassador does not have your best interest at heart. You are the exit liquidity as the player. So the streamer makes money by getting you to lose your money through the rake, to the bots, to a real player, to anybody on the site. So, you got to start with that framework. And when I'm looking at an option, if I'm saying I'm going to play low stakes cash games, that there ain't many. I don't know many good options. Unfortunately, right? I don't have a good answer. I don't know where to go. I've done my research on global lately. WSOP, they're only in a few states. You got a bunch of other options in the app sites, and each one's going to have its risk. You got Ignition, you got all these kind of things, Bet Online, a bunch of them like that. So I don't envy someone whose goal is to try to run their money up. And if you want to play tournaments and you want big prize pools, a lot of people go to ACR for that. But I would wonder, as we've seen from the latest statistics, who are these players? How is the prize pool getting met? And what I'm all questions you got to ask yourself when you play anywhere, when you play a live event, when you play an online event. But I would just say one thing I've really noticed lately is that these site operators, they got an agenda, and their agenda is to take your fucking money. So if it's through the rake, now just imagine, right? If I'm running a poker site and I need to get liquidity in my games, I need to keep action in my games, what would I do? Would I go to the RecPoker crew and I say, hey guys, come fill up some games? Or would I call up a software company to say, hey, why don't you put in these programmable profiles that are going to play whatever style I want? They'll be able to win as much money as I want them to be, and they'll be able to play 24 hours a day, 7 days a week under alternative player profiles, sometimes together, sometimes working together with the RNG, sometimes working together with each other to share cards. And we're going to put 3 or 4 of those people at a table. So now when the person sits down with $400, either the rake is getting it or one of the 3 players is getting it. So if you were running your own poker site and that was an option to you, and the only thing that was against you was nothing, then what would you do? Now, most people would say, I wouldn't do that. But other people would say, yeah, that sounds normal. It sounds actually a great idea. Actually, that sounds smart. Why would I not be doing that? So once you dive deeper into this world, you're going to meet all kind of founders, all kind of people that look at all these things differently. And, it's pretty scary as a player, right? So, for me, I wouldn't say I'm looking to, to rely on online poker at all. Not to say not a lot of people aren't making a lot of money, because there's a lot of ways you can build strategies. You can bum hunt, game select, go in the deep end, go in the gray area, go in any area, really. I mean, there's a lot of area, whatever color you want, you can find these days. So, everyone's got to decide on their comfort or risk and their goals for their finances when it comes to poker online. So yeah, there's some content I'm working on about this. I'm gonna be diving deep into this soon, exploring this world.
Sounds like it. Joseph, follow up?
Yeah, looking forward. Yeah, just keeping with the recreational side of things, and you're talking about GTO Wizard, and I've heard a lot of good things about it. But if you're just starting out, is it more looking at exploitative play and why players are making the decisions they are, or is it studying GTO, or is it a mix? Or I guess what would be your advice for that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't really think it's the best program for people. I'm trying to figure that out for learning, because you really have to understand how to use the program, and I don't think most people are going to take the time to understand how to use the program. So you're kind of just you're learning things, and you're learning things based on a set number of ranges that are more heads up situations. So I wouldn't say necessarily it would be the best tool to use if you want to learn multi-way, which a lot of recreational players are playing multi-way. So you can learn a general strategy in certain situations, and you can take some of those heuristics or some of the, kind of simple ideas and apply them to other situations when you play. But I would say the Wizard specifically is a little bit more for advanced players. And if you want, I would say you should take the time to learn how to use it. Any player is going to get benefit out of it, but it is pretty challenging. Like you said, you got to learn, okay, well, what am I learning here? And then how am I changing from this information? And what am I going to do? So it can be a little complicated.
Last chance in the YouTube chatters. If you want to get a question in for Joey, we're going to be wrapping up the interview shortly. So if you've got any questions, type them in, and also stick around because I mentioned we're going to give away some prizes, compliments of Joey Ingram here at the end of the show. So don't go anywhere. We'll get a few more questions for Joey, and then we'll wrap this up. Sasha, you had something, I think.
Joey, I want to thank you. A couple years ago, you reached out to me. You were interested in my perspectives on women in the game, and I really deeply appreciate somebody with your credential having this awareness. I think that we're in a golden age for women in tournament play for lots of different reasons. Women on the cash side, as you know, those numbers tick up extremely slowly. The cash moment for women, the cash environment is mostly okay and often not okay. It's a hard sell for me in terms of talking to women about coming onto the cash side. What's your sense of things for women in live cash these days? I would love your perspective.
Yeah, it seems like women, there's a lot of initiatives right now designed to create safe spaces for women, to help educate them, to help bring them along in terms of their poker experience with Poker Power. And we got a lot of these more corporate successful women who are coming into poker and starting companies, starting foundations, playing on streams, playing on shows, trying to support women. So I see some indicators that seem pretty good. In terms of playing cash games, I guess like public games, I guess like maybe be a little more specific on the question.
Just in terms of live cash, low, mid stakes. I mean, I know exactly one woman playing. I know two women playing 5-10, for example, that I see on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Lots of women, many more women are in 2-5 tables at the major casinos here in Vegas.
Yeah, I'm not really monitoring the demo right now for who's playing cash games. Like I would say I'm unaware of most things that are at lows that aren't at high stakes in Vegas right now. So like I know the general trends on where 10-20 and above in private games. Like I'm more in that private game world now and the event world and home game world, where that's why I'm paying a lot of my attention to. So the public games, to me, the last place I want to go is play as a public game, really. Like ever since I started playing with my bots, I go sit at the win now, even playing PLO. I don't know. It's not really something like I'm looking to do more of unless I'm playing with friends or unless I'm organizing the game or anything like that. So I'm a little bit, I'm just not as educated right now on that, but I'm like you said, I reached out to you a couple of years ago, and I'm always reaching out to people. I always like hearing what people got to say and what their perspective is in the poker world, because I'm only focused on a very small part of it. So I'm talking to people that are, running the companies or people that are creating the events or creating the content. So I'm not really able to be everywhere and stay in tune as I used to be in certain parts, because now I'm kind of evolving outside of that. So yeah, it's a good question. I imagine it's, always got to get more popular. It just seems like more women are playing to me, and you got a lot of great ambassadors. You got Kristen McNell out there. She's been raising her profile. You got Maria Ho, who's really, to me, taken it to a couple other levels lately with winning Game of Gold. And, she's always on Instagram making a lot of great content. She does a lot of commentary, works with the biggest companies. She's got a really big network, and I think she's a real powerful figure in the women in poker world. So I feel like we're seeing a lot more of those. And over time, I feel like it's only going to get bigger. So I'm pretty optimistic about the women in poker and growing that part of things.
Thank you.
So I've got a couple questions of my own, Joey, and then we'll get to a few in the YouTube chat and
Sure.
wrap this puppy up. You mentioned earlier that the poker world is not what it seems. What are a couple things that have surprised you about the poker world as you've gotten to know it better and get more involved within it? What are a couple things that have surprised you?
I'm going to take a photo for my purposes, and I'm going to answer that good question, because that's a really good question. And a lot of things surprise me, Jim. Some things you can talk about, some things you can't talk about. But
sure,
basically one thing, and I could go into this for 3 hours. I've thought about how I would make a video on this for a while, but it's basically there's a big fugazi where, you know, none of this stuff what it seems like. Most of these people aren't who they seem. The game isn't what it seems. Like it's not, we're not playing poker. We're playing, I call it like wealth extraction, where you think you're playing poker, but you're not playing poker. You're playing, I'm taking your fucking money. So a lot of these people that get in, you're like, you go on a poker site, you see cards, you see chips, a flop came, bets went out there, but this isn't poker. This is something else. This isn't, it's a vehicle for people to take your money. That's what I've really distilled this down to. When you had ESPN back in the day, what were they telling you? Mike Matusow, all these guys on TV, they're all the best players. And when I was watching that, I was like, yeah, like, fucking, the guy's got a red name. He's a guy. This guy's got to be good. These guys are so good. Like, these are the good players. Oh my God, I want to be just like them. I want to be like the pros. I want to be like the red players. And then I realized over time that Full Tilt Poker is paying for marketing. They're a sponsor. PokerStars is a sponsor. So what happens? You're seeing this now. We're running this whole playbook back now, right? I'm on the opposite side now, where I'm the one who's in that position. So I'm like, I've always wondered, like, what is that like? What is this real? Is it this? Is it that? And I realized it's all bullshit. It's all a fugazi. It's all these companies getting paid to tell you something that who knows if it's true. Are these people good at poker? Who fucking knows if they're good at poker? Are they winning? Are they making money? You know, these deals people have, they don't even, like, nothing is what it seems. None of these games are going to be oftentimes what they see. You see 9 people at a game, you don't realize 7 people in the game got the same investor. That investor, not even in the country. You know? So not to say every game is like that, not to say that, but that's how a lot of games are. And that's how poker is, right? They hype you up and sell you, get you excited, and then you want to go play. You don't realize that people are just using this as a way to take your money. They're not begging you to beat you at cards. They don't care if they're the best player. They think you're a fucking idiot, that you would go sit down in the game and play the game. So, you know, like I said, like, that's the biggest thing I learned over time, is that you got to be careful. You got to be locked in. You got to be focused. You got to watch where you're playing. You got to watch who you're playing with, and you got to be better than ever. And you got to be more diligent than ever about your table selection, because otherwise you're going to get taken advantage of, just like I got taken advantage of early in my career, just like people are still getting taken advantage of forever, right? That's how poker is. Poker is not, it's not what it seems, right? There's low stakes, there's fun poker, there's rec poker, you know, there's every poker league you can imagine, but everything's kind of mixed in between. So it's easy, as someone said earlier, spectacle poker. You know, it's easy to look at spectacle poker and let it get you hype, let it get you excited, and then you want to go play and you want to battle and you want to go into the game. But, you know, little do you know, the 3 guys there, they've been working together for 25 years. So, you know, they got a good system down, and the system, what's the system designed to do? Take your fucking money. So that was the biggest thing I said I'd learn, is that, you know, you got a lot of that going on, and you never know who to trust. And the last person that I would trust is a high stakes poker player. So, you know, especially if I'm playing in poker with that person. You know, and that's why I don't play with these guys. I don't play on these shows. I'm not playing in private games. If I'm playing, it's under my circumstances, or, you know, it's more casual, or I'm playing against my bots, because I'm already getting botted anyway on all these sites. So I might as well be playing knowing I'm against a bot, versus me going on a site thinking that the guy I know that runs the site is going to give me a fair fucking game. You know, my days, those days are long gone. I'm not believing that anymore. So yeah.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I believe it. And I think the more, you know, involved in the game you get, the more you sort of come to recognize, like, the pageantry and the setting that is being put up. And I think for a lot of the big players and the big businesses out there, you know, it is, how do we get the money, right? And how do we separate the people
Jim,
from the money?
It's about,
you know?
Jim, it's about that. I'm telling you, right? I used to think that maybe it's not about that. Like, I used to think the same thing when I was investigating ECR. I was like, damn, this is like, I didn't, once I really started learning what's happening, I went down the deepest rabbit hole for years from this. And I was like, damn, none of this is what it seems like. None of this, like, you can't believe any of these people, really. Why would you believe any of these people that are saying, oh, of course we're not cheating? When the fuck did somebody come out in the video and say, hey, Yeah, we did it. We put the cards there. Show me a video in the history of poker where the guy came out and said, yeah, like I actually had the mark deck in there and we took that guy for 5K. He had aces and we had set and we stacked them all. Where's the video where someone came out and said that? I haven't seen it. So, you know, like, come on. You know what I'm saying? You know?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying all of it's like that. And there's, you know, people are living good poker lives. People are living their dreams. Everyone, you know, everyone's using poker in their own different way. And I don't know, man. It's in a different world. It's like, yeah, really eye-opening these past few years about how poker works.
Well, I mean, we appreciate having you spreading the word, right? I mean, it's like you say, there's a lot of people that get involved in it, get to a high level, and just keep their mouth shut. But
they're keeping it shut right now, buddy. They're not saying anything. What's the incentive to say anything? Like,
right.
What are you gonna you're gonna come out and then what's gonna happen?
Right. No, the machine's not going to stop rolling. Right.
I mean, like, you know, like what's going to happen to these people? Like, we've been watching these people do this for years and it's still rolling out and the train's still rolling. I mean, if you guys really knew what allegedly could be happening out there, you know, this would be the biggest stories. So, you know what I'm saying? Right. But nobody who wants to say, what's going to happen? You're going to go out there. Your life is going to get maybe destroyed. Your life's going to get threatened. Who knows what's going to happen out of that, right? I've dealt with all that kind of stuff in the past. So you got to be a crazy person to do it. And there aren't many, like, if you're that crazy in poker, you just do something else and make more money.
Right.
Like, you wouldn't, like, if you knew this stuff, you would just do something else. So that's the trend I've noticed, is that where are they going to go? Like, are they going to make a YouTube, you know, what are you, like, for what reason would they even have an incentive to
so. No, incentives. I mean, that's a big reason for a lot of this stuff. I always think that's, you know, ask why and ask who benefits, and then you get, you know, you'll find some interesting answers. I can tell we're going a little long, Joey. I hope you don't mind.
It's all good. I don't mind. I'm fired up. Like I said, I've been locked in on this. I'm working on my content right now, and I'm just deciding how deep I want to get on this stuff, because, you know, some of this stuff is pretty explosive, and like, it's just it's right there. It's distilled down so simply right now in some ways that when the right people hear it, they're going to be like, oh, fuck. Okay. That in a way, I don't think it's really been put like that. And, but at the same time, it's never been easier to crush poker. That's the sick thing about this, is that once you know this stuff, you're just dominating. You know what I mean? You're always in situations where you're crushing. So
that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's the flip side. Once you know this stuff, like, what are you going to do with the information? Do you want to use it to play now? Do you want to use it to identify weak players in your game? Do you want to use it to identify trustworthy people in the game? I mean, like, that's ultimately where this information gets you, is you're trying to get information on players in the game to figure out where are they at in their range. You know, are they a legitimate player? Are they an illegitimate player? Like, that's how online poker's always been. That's how poker's always been. You got to figure out who's trying to fuck you and who's trying to, you know, play it straight, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you've got a little more time, we're going to keep rolling here, because this is great having you. Well, and I think, you know, once you develop some of this stuff and get your message laid out and get the word out on some of this stuff, we'll have to have you back on the show, because I'd love to talk more about kind of this shadier shadow side of the poker industry, but I don't want to steal your thunder, because I know you've got something coming out on this already. So
yeah, I probably really am not. I'm probably really not gonna put it out. Like, I'll probably put out for my private group, and then, you know, I talked about this for years. Like, none of it. This is literally already in a video. Like, I already made videos on this exact thing, and really, what I say wouldn't change much. Like, it's about the same exact thing that was going on in 2020, 2021 is going on right now. So, you know what I mean? Like, really, there really ain't much to say. Like, it's so boring. Online poker these days is just so boring to follow. It's just not even, you know, I don't know. It's so sad what happened to it. It's so, the companies ruined it, bro. It's so sad, but
yeah.
Whatever.
Well, there's nothing like live poker. I know that's where most of us kind of like enjoy playing and have a more positive, like, player experience. I think a lot of us play online to get the reps in and sort of to practice, and because it's what's available. But I think especially recreational players, I think most recreational players really prefer to play live, and I think you can feel more comfortable about, like, game security and that kind of stuff in a brick and mortar casino, where it's all, you know, there and established, and people are generally good actors.
I would agree. Theoretically, that's what you think.
Right? Theoretically, yeah, that's right. At least you better odds. You know, we're all about odds.
One tip I would say, right, when you're playing hands with people, the people you want to play hands with are people that you see consistently losing money. So when you see them losing money and they make bad plays, those are like you, because this is the foog, right? The foog is this most standard thing, and you find in these private games where people are cheating. The guy's playing a lot of hands and he's playing, but he somehow got 700 big blinds. How's he got 700 big blinds? How's he? He did that 3 sessions in a row. This is when you start. All right, who the guy come with? You know, who's he looking at? Who's he talking to? Like where? You know, that's when I might do a due diligence and go through your entire life and figure out everybody you know, right? Like that's when you would. You see what I mean, right? So
yeah.
But just a simple tip: you want to find people that are. This is how you avoid this: is you see at a table, okay, that guy's he's playing. I mean, come on, like, you know, and that's that's the only way you know for sure. So.
Yep.
Take it.
Game selection.
Do that with what you will.
Yep. I love it. Let's pivot a little bit to some of the positive things in the poker world right now. Joey, you've been very generous and offered to collaborate with RecPoker a little bit going forward on some fun features or some ways that our members can get more Joey Ingram in their lives. I'll ask our audience. This episode is going to come out at the beginning of February. Email me, please, jim@rec.poker, and suggest some fun ways that you'd like to get more involved with Joey Ingram and RecPoker, and some fun ways that we can work together to brighten your day in the poker world. And if you're in the YouTube chat, type it in there. Yeah, because Joey, I want to do more of this fun stuff. You got such a great attitude about this. I just enjoy talking to you so much about this. What are some things, like, you've got all these options now, and you've built this up perfectly. So like you said, you can play 2-card, you can play 4-card, you can coach, you can add commentary, you can consult, you know, that's what success looks like to me, being able to choose how to spend your time. So let me ask you this. What do you like to do the most?
What do I like to do the most? That's a great question. What do I like to do the most?
If there were no, you know, strings attached, just like no
strings attached. I really like I love consulting and working with companies, and I started doing a lot of advising companies and a lot of startups, and I've always really liked people helping people build their business or promote themselves, or I've always loved helping people get famous and get really well known and make a lot of money and shine the light on them. So that's why I really like working with founders, because I feel like I've been a founder for so long. I've worked with so many founders. I have very empathetic for the struggles that goes into building a business or building a company or building your social media channels and figuring out how all of that kind of stuff works together. So I'd say I love doing that. I love playing heads up hold'em. I love researching pretty much a lot of different topics right now pertaining to investing or banking or finance or, you know, what's really happening out there in the world. The language is another one of my main topics right now I like to study. So, you know, I'd say those are my favorite things right now, is a combination of play heads up, study poker, study my other topics, and work with the companies I'm working with. So yeah, I got some fun projects I got now, and it's all starting to come into fruition, you could say.
I love it. It's great. It's great when a plan comes together. I was going to have that be the last question. I know Chris has a couple in the YouTube chat, but you've just pulled one more out of me. Joey, in your life leading up to your career in poker, did you have these sort of skills? Is this a natural affinity of yours? Did you consciously work on them, the studying and knowing what you wanted to get more into? How much of this is new to you since you've entered the poker world, and how much is it just an extension of your earlier life?
Yeah, good question. When I was younger, I used to play sports a lot and play online games. So I like to compete at online games. Specifically, I played a game called checkers, which not many people play, but checkers or chess. I used to play these speed checkers games where it was 1-minute matches. And I must have played like 100,000 of these matches where I'd battle everyone in the lobby, basically like poker, but heads up checkers. 1-minute matches, so it's speed. It's like fast. So I got really good at that. I would climb up the ladder on that. I would always play Madden competitively on PlayStation, and I would climb up the rankings on that. So I always had an affinity for trying to beat the games or run up the games, or, you know, I just thought that's the only way to play games. And then I was always into sports, and I played sports up until I got into high school. And then once I got out of there, I started getting into working out and promoting, and, you know, so that really was the pipeline for me playing online poker, because I basically just played 24 games. I played speed poker, played like 7 million hands. So like I built my strategies and built my, sort of off that. And then that took me into content, which is kind of natural because I always loved talking to people for a long time and asking questions and getting to know you and taking a deep dive into your life and seeing where the conversation takes you, which was my podcast. You get paid to do that, right? It's like, oh, it's pretty interesting. So, and then as I've gotten older, I just study a lot. I study all the time now. So I'm always researching. I'm always learning about, mindset. I used to have a mindset-based business where I would coach people and have mastermind groups, and I'd always dedicated myself to trying to become the best poker player I could be. And poker is all about mindset. Content creation is all about mindset. And it seems like investing is really all about mindset too. So, I'm like trying to set new goals now, and I got a little away from goals for a long time. And before I always set out to be the best poker player I could be, try to become one of the best in the world that I could be, try to become one of the best content creators or become the best podcaster, or now I want to become the best investor, the best builder of products and tools and helping people out. And so I've just sort of reframed out of the way I used to think about things and took it down a new path. And then off of that, I'm building out new goals and new indicators that show me I'm on my path. I'm setting out to achieve what I said I'm setting out to achieve. And yeah, I guess it's evolved over time, but I've always tried to be good at what I did. Not to say I've always done it, and not to say I always can do it and execute on that, but I've always tried to aspire to do that, and with varying results and different things.
Yeah, well, and when you're taking pride in your work, it's easier to do it. It's more rewarding. It's more validating. I think we get more out of it. So that makes a lot of sense. So again, I'll just remind our listeners, you don't get many opportunities like this. Send me an email, jim@rec.poker, and suggest some fun ways for Joey to get more involved with RecPoker and some fun stuff to do. So Joe, Chris has a couple questions. He's gonna
go ahead. You guys got some. You guys got a few. Go ahead. I don't mind you. I obviously don't get to talk to you guys that often, but I'm down to come back on. So if you guys have anything in the future, you can always bring it to me then too. But yeah, go ahead.
I can feel chapter 2 coming up a couple months from now already.
I think John could talk to me for 5 hours himself.
Oh yeah.
He seems like he got a lot. He seemed like he got a lot in his head. I can already tell he's like ready to fucking fire over there. No, sorry.
Definitely true. Definitely true.
So Joey, I got one question from the YouTube chat, and then I've got then we're gonna go into our game Stake Study Stack, which I'll explain to you in a second.
Okay.
So the question comes from Lachlan, and he wonders how you feel about PLO 5. Do you believe it's more than a cash game? Does it have any potential to be a growing MTT type game, PLO 5?
I don't play that game. I heard good things about it, but I don't play that game. That ain't my game. 5 card. I'd rather learn anything else but 5 card. I'd rather learn how to rock climb than 5 card PLO. I'm gonna leave it to the RecPoker mixed game crew.
I love it.
I'll watch you guys play, and you guys can tell me about it. But yeah, I don't play much of that game now. But I could see it. I could see it. You need an ambassador. Every game needs an ambassador. So someone's got to. Doyle Brunson, God rest his soul, hopped out there and put himself in front of the game and said, "Fuck it, I'm the man." Sorry, I keep swearing, but I'm just too.
That's okay. It's allowed. We'll have
I've been so like fired up lately. And I don't get to have many long conversations with people. So when I talk, I'm just like, I got a billion things to talk about. But
let's shift to our game. So since we've already gone explicit with the podcast. You probably once played a game in childhood called Kill Fuck Marry, right? Okay, so this is a game we call Stake Study Stack. I'm going to give you 3 names. You get to stake one of the players in a cash game or tournament. You get to study with one of them, and you get to just take all the chips of the other. All right?
I'm in.
All right. Your 3 names are Doug Polk, Garrett Adelstein, and Tom Dwan.
Doug Polk, Garrett Adelstein. What was the study? How did the study work?
You get to learn from them. They get to teach you something about poker. You get to study with them.
Wow. That's a crazy one. Well, I've learned a lot from Doug Polk. Definitely learned a lot from him. So I would say that stake, study, stack. Well, I definitely want Doug involved in all 3 of those personally, because I'd love to stack him while studying him and staking him also, because that guy, he's a proven winner. So But for the sake of this one, I would say I'm going to stake Garrett because I'm ready. I want a big punishment. I want a big loss. He's going to make a big bluff. You know, he's going to have your heart on the edge of his seat, even though Doug's going to do the same. But I'd say stack Tom Dwan, the legend, study Garrett, and I'd stake Doug Polk, and I'd be. I mean, you guys saw he's a big winner on he's one of the big winners, I think, on the Lodge live stream this year. So, or overall, the lifetime, I think, for the new stream. So, you know, clearly, what does that tell you?
I love it. All right, well, we're going to put that out and let Garrett, Dwan, and Polk know that's how you feel about him.
I mean, stack Tom. Can you imagine stacking Tom Dwan, the GOAT himself? I mean, you'd love to learn from him too, though.
Yeah,
like, just imagine getting, you know, learning Tom Dwan. The guy's a legend. I mean, come on.
Chris doesn't make these easy for our guests, you know.
That's a sick question. I like this. I really like that format for the game. That's pretty good.
Well, we got to thank Eric Jin, Wrecking Crew member Eric Jin, who lives on the West Coast and can't always make the recording time of these. But that's his idea, and it's been one of my favorite features.
Can I ask your guys' opinion on this event I'm doing, just in terms of soon, and then you guys can wrap it up, and then I'm gonna go get food. But yeah, basically I'm doing this. They're calling it the Celebrity Poker Invitational. It's February 8th, Poker Go. I'm working with that company, and I'm going to play in the event. So basically, nice. I've been looking around for startups, and they did their first event last year. They're a talent management company and marketing services for big brands, and they represent a lot of athletes and mainstream content creators, big different platforms in other worlds. They did a poker event last year on Poker Go on a live stream, made a lot of clips. It crushed it. Everyone seemed happy with it. Now they're starting a whole tour. They're going to do cash games. They're going to do more events. And I met with their founders, really like what they're doing. The one founder, Blake Wynn, he's from the Wynn family. So his uncle, Steve, made the Wynn, you know, guy's a legend in the game. And his dad is his dad's in resort development. So, you know, these guys got a deep Vegas history. And when I saw he's getting into poker tournaments, I said, well, I got to meet this guy. I met one of their founders, a former NFL player named Hayes. He's the man. So yeah, so I'm going to be playing in that event, and I've been consulting with them, helping them get their message out there, helping them get coverage in the poker world, which you're going to see some of that coverage start to come out now. But yeah, I think that's exciting because it's a whole new area of poker players, NFL players, UFC fighters, YouTubers, food people, Olympians are in these things, and they want to create clips off of these people playing poker. I said, okay, I got to be involved in this because this is a poker boom indicator. Is something like that. So what do you guys think about that event? Even though it's a fun player event, it's not a real serious poker. These aren't serious players. So a lot of people aren't going to like it because they want to see serious players. But I feel like this kind of stuff is exactly what poker needs for marketing to help spread the word to more people.
I think having like celebrities playing poker is actually the best of both worlds because it's people that we're interested in watching, but it's very humanizing for us to see other people playing poker badly. You know, to be honest with you, that's not a problem. And I think, you know, stuff like this is good for the game. And the more, you know, it's one thing to have just like these high stakes robots playing against each other all the time. It's less applicable and like less interesting to the games that we're playing in. I think having that kind of touch of the real world is helpful. Sasha and then Joseph, I think you had something to add here.
Joey, this is an amazing development. Okay. I'm a marketer by training. I fucking love what you're saying. This is so exciting. But what Jim was saying about what I love, like at the highest level, like celebrity poker, amateur poker, recreational poker at the high celebrity level, merging like what Jim talks about rec as making poker fun again. You know, I sometimes will play at a game where people are actually having fun at the Aria. And I say, hey, you know, we're actually having fun at the Aria. It's amazing, right? But that idea of like making not serious, but recreational poker fun again. But you're talking about, I guess that's sort of what Jim just said. But I'm saying it again, like at the highest levels and people with a lot of money coming in and just showing. And I'm so effing excited about this as a development, as a cultural development. And I agree with you. I understand your excitement in terms of the potential for a poker boom. This is just a whole new financial and political and cultural dynamic.
Exactly. Yeah. I can tell you're a marketer because that's exactly what I said. Once I saw the last event, I was like, well, I got to meet these guys because if they're able to get these people to play poker, they clearly need, they that got me and these people need each other basically, because I'm looking to work with events like that because I think I can add a lot with marketing. I already brought in one of my investments, a company called Amplified. Amplified's an auction platform for influential creators. So you're going to see that come out in poker this year. But basically, we're going to partner with this event series. We're going to do exclusive auctions where it's like fan engagement, basically, where your fan gets to bid on experience, whatever the experience you want it to be. And theoretically, they could bid anything. So, you never know what exactly that bid could be. And if you get a seat in the game, if you get access to the post party at Fontainebleau, you get access to meet your favorite creator, and you throw in a couple other things to the right fan, those sorts of things are very valuable. And then that creates its own content, which lives, that's going to be a whole other thing altogether. But, the general thing is kind of what you said about marketing to the highest level, fun players, recreational poker. And I see the same thing. I'm like, this is an untapped market. I got to be like, I feel like I'm one of the first people to this market. Everyone else is doing the fucking 100th Hustler stream. Oh, how do we make Hustler again? How do we do Hustler again? How do we make Hustler again? Everyone's just, you can't follow the people in investing. That's what I learned about investing is you got to think outside the box. Where are people not paying attention to? Like RecPoker, maybe RecPoker is the best investment because it has so much room to grow and there's so many recreational players out there, right? Like when you look at investments, you say, okay, well, is it total big market in poker? They all want to spend money. What can they buy? They need a product to buy. Well, they can buy training, they can buy this, they can play the game. Well, they can buy access to communities. So that's some of where my next stuff is going to be going in the future. But yeah, I know Joe, you wanted to say something about that, Joe, as well too.
Yeah, Joe, jump in.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna say, yeah, celebrities can play poker, but they, can't watch significant others play football. But but yeah, just kind of talking about this, it sounds a lot like what Stout's doing with the charity series of poker, and obviously I'm always plugging that whenever I can because he does get a lot of gets celebrities, sports stars, just people within Vegas or even. I think Seidel's coming to the next one. Actually, it's on the 8th, so you won't be there. But yeah, it sounds like it's more for the charity stuff as well. So there is some good that comes out of that, not just everyone throwing money around, and passing the money around, but it's for a good cause. So just kind of reminded me of that. And obviously, you and I have gone at it a few times at some of those events. So.
Yeah, I would say that was a big inspiration, was going to those events, seeing how I have so much fun when I go there. I'm always always looking forward to going, and I love talking to the people there. It's always a good time. Met so many people there I keep in touch with. I just got a suit from one of the guys I met at the awards ceremony last month, this guy Tommy. So he made me a suit. He came over, and I'm going to wear that at the next event. So it's like, I'm all about the charity poker is so fun. I mean, you get to raise money for a good cause. Nobody's taking it that seriously. And those events have been really eye-opening in a lot of ways. So, yeah, I love those events. And I feel like I was going to add one more thing on top of that, but no, I don't think I can remember, but yeah.
We'll have to wait till we have you back, Joey. So we're going to close out the interview with our speed round, and then we're going to give away some prizes. I'll just announce the prizes now. So normally we do a raffle here to support our fight against food insecurity around the world. I tell people, pull out your smartphone and Google food banks near me, and you'll find an organization nearby that can benefit from some dollars from your wallet, some non-perishable food items from your pantry, or maybe a few hours of your time volunteering this week. Normally, we raffle off a prize to give away, but we were chatting on Twitter, and for this week only, this podcast is going to come out on Friday, February, he said, vamping 2nd. And so if anyone uses the code LEGION between now and February 2nd, the Friday where this episode comes out, they're going to get a free month here at RecPoker. This is just our way of saying thanks to Joey's fans who are tuning in live tonight. And we've got a bunch of other fun stuff planned coming up, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. Folks.
Let's do it. Yeah, I guess I'll leave it with that. So basically, I'll give you a little bit of way I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
So for this for that offer, this is the way I'm thinking about it. So I have the Legion, right? And the Legion is ready they want things to do, they want places to go, they want products to use, poker to play, good lives to live. So my approach, I've been thinking about it, is that I want to reach out to companies that I like and have them create a special offer for the Legion, where because I'm about to start my next my group, like a community as well. Like you guys have a community, I'm going to have a few different communities. You're kind of going to see how it's going to, if you pay attention, then you'll see how it's going to work. But basically, inside of my club, in my community, in my headquarters, whatever you want to call it, I have my official training partners, I have my official community, I have my official hotel, I have like these, I wouldn't say like official vendors in some ways, but basically companies I have a prearranged deal with where we have a special offer. So let's say they sign up for GTO Wizard, maybe they get a free month, maybe they get access to a special GTO Wizard chat or something like that. If it could be literally put anything on that, but maybe they get a discount, maybe they get 20% off for a year or something like that. So it kind of could be anything. And that's one way I'm trying to differentiate the offers that my partners are going to have. And that was kind of what I was thinking here, where, hey, I'm out there doing something. I go, oh, you're a recreational player. Like, you got to go to RecPoker. Here's a special website, recpoker.com/Joey, or here's a special offer that is exclusive to Legion members, not as a way that I want to shill it all the time or be paid to promote it or anything like that, or even a lot of times as an affiliate, it not necessarily even with that intention, but just as a way to differentiate itself from other products or other services that you're going to promote. And that way people theoretically, I've had a lot of success with this in the past. So that was what I was thinking about with this idea, just to give you a little more context. And that way, if you guys are thinking about, how can we build something or put something together, you kind of go from that starting point, and then let's do something exciting, do something cool, right? I don't know.
Yeah. I love it, man. Well,
what about a RecPoker cash game stream on one of these like shows?
Yeah.
What if you guys did something where it was like a show at like Studio 52 in Vegas, and then you did a giveaway where you got to have a RecPoker community member play in that game, and then they got to have that content, and then you get that content, and then you get to, you know what I mean? So an idea.
I'm just like rushing to say yes immediately. That sounds like a freaking phenomenal idea. A phenomenal idea.
You
like guys are
for your visit in June, Jim, when you're out here for the series.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as you can see, we're still working on some of these offers, some of these fun ways to work together. So it's not too late to get some suggestions in. Joey, we have this speed round that we usually do at the end of the show, but we're kind of going long. You still want? All right, we got time. It is a speed round.
I don't mind. Listen, I don't even do any poker pod. You guys don't understand. I haven't done a poker podcast in like, I can't remember the last time I did a poker. I don't talk to anybody in poker. That's what I mean. Like, Jim, I've heard so many good things about you, and I was like, yeah, like fuck it. Let me go support the RecPoker community, because like, if you guys post this for your community, I think they're probably going to be like, dang, you guys are getting the hardcore people on here. Like, how are you guys getting these people on here? Right. So then other people are going to want to come on the show. You can say, hey, we have Papi on here. You can go to other people and say, hey, come on. This could be like a whole thing for you that you never know, right? It could go anywhere.
Feels like it. Yeah.
Right. Like, you guys can now you guys can say, hey, we had Joey on the show. He endorsed the show. He likes the show. Why don't you come on my show? So now you get to get access. You get to get a good reason to ask anybody to come on your show now, which is kind of cool.
I'll tell you, man, nothing warms my heart than hearing you say, oh, I've heard good things about what you're doing with the RecPoker community here, and that like RecPoker is making, the recreational poker world a better place. Like, when I heard you say that, it's just like, God damn, like, yes, this is what we're doing. This is a passion project for all of us here on the RecPoker Crew. We love poker.
Get paid to do this?
I mean, some of us do coaching on the side. We have a premium membership, and we kind of run this as a co-op. I share the profits from the membership with everyone on the Wrecking Crew. So the greater we make it, the greater we all benefit from it. But we're a small organization. It's not much more than beer money. We're mostly here just because we freaking love this, and we love making the world a better place. John, you've got something.
I was going to just say, some of us make multiple cents per hour for the.
Yeah, literally. Some of us are in the double digits of cents per hour, if you think about it. So, yeah. So it's extremely validating to hear that, and I love it. And I think
you guys all got jobs. You're saying everyone.
Oh yeah.
Sasha's a marketer. Jim, you
Everyone-
actually got a job. You're not.
No,
you're
no,
not-
no, 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 no,
No,
no.
Sasha's actually a
I'm a
cash
grinder.
grinder. Yeah,
I'm a
Sasha's
grinder.
Oh,
I
okay,
took the
sorry.
plunge, Joey.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I just bought by training.
Yeah.
Oh,
But-
you're a local sicko. I get it. Okay. You're
Yeah,
crushing
that's it. 100%. 100%.
Dang, what a
But yeah,
beast.
most of us have day jobs or we're retired, and this is just what we love doing. And we probably spend more time on it than makes a lot of sense financially. But that's not a motivator for us. We
That's
love
awesome.
poker. We love making the recreational poker world a better place. And it's kind of like I say, it's turned into this thing where I feel like we are making a difference. People reach out from time to time on social media or email or stop me when they see me in the casinos and, give us some positive feedback. I know that's true for other RecPoker Crew members as well. So thank you very much for the kind words. And like I say, it just means a lot that the movers and shakers kind of feel like we're doing good work for the poker world. That's fantastic to hear.
Yeah, I've heard that for many years. So, keep up I can tell, come on here. You guys seem like you got a good shop. I registered for the site, kind of looked around, looked at the content, how you structure things. So, like I said, it seems like you guys got a pretty winning formula. So, I'm down. I'm down to follow along. Now you got me as a follower. I'm following
That's
along
right.
with the Rec Poker journey. And you never know what's going to happen. It's going to be a great year. So I'm pretty excited about it.
You took the words right out of my mouth, man. I think the ceiling's high and the future is bright. Well, let's dive into
Speed round. Come on, let's do it.
Speed round, closing the action. This man's
Okay.
got to eat. All right, here we go. So this is we call it closing the action. We want quick, fast, short answers. The top thing on your mind. If you have to think about it, just say pass, and we'll move on to the next one. Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna start with an easy one. Here we go. Closing the action with Joey Ingram. What is your favorite poker hand?
Aces.
Is poker a gamble game or a skill game?
Skill game.
What's your biggest poker pet peeve?
People that beat me in the hand.
Good answer. Yep. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Definitely.
Is Ace King a drawing hand?
No.
In tournament poker, are you pro chop or no chop?
No chop.
What player type are you?
Very aggressive.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes.
What's one thing you're afraid of?
The YouTube section.
Shit.
The comment section.
The comments, yeah. No, don't go there. Should vacations be lazy or busy?
Both.
What's
Depends.
your favorite brick and mortar poker venue?
The win.
Yellow light coming up. Slow down or speed up?
Speed up. Definitely.
For tournaments, register early or max late reg?
Probably register early. Right? I don't know. I'm not professional like those guys.
Like those, I know. Look out, right? What's your favorite color?
Red.
Who is your poker nemesis?
Poker now. I don't have a poker nemesis.
When you were growing up, what was your favorite holiday meal?
Thanksgiving with the sweet potatoes.
Nice. All right, last question. This is not a speed round question. You can take your time, and then we're going to let the man go after this. You've led a rich, long, full life. Looking back on your life, let's say someone comes up with a gun to your head and says, Joey Ingram, you have to go back and do one thing differently. What one thing in your life would you do differently?
If I had to go back and do one thing differently, I would have started investing when I was 7 years old, and I would be the best investor in the world already right now. So that was what I would have done differently. I would have started investing when I was like a little kid, and yeah.
Good answer. Good answer. All right, I'm just doing some quick math here. You got 914 points in the speed round. Great work, Joey. That's well ahead of the curve there.
How do you?
Excellent.
What's the scoring you guys use? How do you? What do you
we have a proprietary system that we use that
nice.
we keep behind the curtain here, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
totally not just made up. It's definitely not just a made up number every episode. That would come right out of the whatnot or whose line is it anyway? That was it. It was whose line
That's
is it
correct.
anyway?
You're a regular Clive Anderson there, John.
Clive Anderson. Yeah, there
Oh,
you go.
yeah.
Joseph
Good old
Wills knows,
BBC.
he knows what's going on. But you should feel proud of that one, Joey. There's some
Thank
previous guests that are going to be very disappointed to hear that you scored in the 900s. I'll say that much. That's very impressive.
Put it on the leaderboard. Let's get it.
Let's get him on the leaderboard.
Put it on the
Joey,
leaderboard.
If folks want to say thank you so much for coming on the show, what can they do? Can they subscribe to something? Can they join something? Can they sign up for a newsletter? What's your best way?
I think right now, probably best ways are Twitter at Joey Ingram 1 or Instagram, Papi GTO. I'm not super active on both, but I check my Twitter all the time. So if you want me to see it, mention me on Twitter, and I'll probably be able to see it. Or you could send me a message on IG, and then it'll go in my other folder. But yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I see Taylor Moss in the YouTube chat. Taylor is the guy that runs our Marek Madness. It's really his baby. So I'll be putting you two in touch. We're going to have some fun in March right around the corner. Joey, thank you so much for coming on the RecPoker Pod. And for all this time, boy, we really took you at your word here. We took a lot of your time. We got to some great places in the interview. I'm so grateful, and I can't wait to talk to you again sometime real soon.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Chris, Sasha, John, Joe, Jim, appreciate you guys very much. And yeah, I'll get out of here. I'll let you guys keep it moving, and we'll talk soon. If any of you guys want to chat anymore, just hit me up. Everybody in the chat, I don't have YouTube open, but if you're watching out there in YouTube, shout out to everybody in YouTube, shout out to everybody who's watching from the Legion. And more content coming soon. We'll be back. But yeah, enjoy, guys. Thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you guys again.
Keep it up, Joey. Dude, man.
Cool.
Take care.
All right. See everybody.
All right. Well, folks, a reminder, if you're listening live or you're listening to this on the day it comes out, try your first month of RecPoker Premium membership for free by using the code LEGION at checkout. And if you're listening to this on the second day after it comes out, February 3rd, 2024 or later, you can always get your first month for only $5 using the code RecPoker. John Somsky, why don't you take us through some recent results in our home game club, and then we'll get this out the door because we got to go record the forums edition in no time here.
All right. Well, I will move quickly. On January 22nd, Swedish Fishy 77 Lars got his first nightly victory for the year. Isenma got his first nightly victory for the year. Bone Crusher 14, Marcel Dusik got his first nightly victory for the year. Torinor Joshua Campbell won the daily mixed event. Roadstar got his first international victory for the year. East Coast Bitter Ben Enslow got his second international victory for the year. And then Izama once again won the LPP event. So he can contact info at rec.poker for his free month at Learn Pro Poker.
Amazing. Yeah, send that email, info at rec.poker. Congratulations, Spike. And congratulations on all our winners. And a shout out to Ben Enslow, who's got 2 victories in the month of January. He is on track for his goal of 21 RecPoker wins in the month of 2024. So yeah, congratulations on the first 2, Ben. I hope that continues. We have gone long here, folks. If you're a premium member and you're listening live, if you're watching live, we're about to record the forums edition of the podcast where we chat strategy. If you go to the rec.poker homepage, you'll see the calendar there. Just click on that Zoom link. Come and join us as we take a post from the RecPoker forums and talk about it on the forums edition of the podcast. I guess I got to just thank the Running Aces Hotel, Racetrack, and Casino for their continued support. We couldn't do what we do without them. They're a fantastic sponsor, and we're very grateful for them. Joey Ingram, what a great guest. We're definitely having him back on again. And maybe someone is even going to be able to play against him in our Marek Madness in 2024. I got to thank John Somsky, Sasha Sutton, Joseph Wills, Chris Jones. Joe was in here as well. But anyway, you, the listeners, everyone in the YouTube chat, thanks so much. Another rockin' week of the RecPoker podcast. See you next week.